Europe is witnessing a massive development that is happening more quickly than most people realize. Millions of migrants were formerly welcomed by these nations, but they are now rapidly changing their ways. Deportations are on the rise in 2026. Immigration laws are becoming more stringent than they have ever been, and borders are closing. This change is neither silent nor coincidental. Is it motivated by worries about political survival, economic pressure, or public safety? Which European nations are making the strongest efforts to repatriate immigrants? 10 European countries are currently conducting record-breaking removals. You might be surprised by some of these choices. Join us as we look at the figures, the causes, and the actual effects of Europe's immigration reform. Subscribe now, share this video, and share your thoughts in the comments if this is a topic that interests you. Latvia, number 10. With only 1.8 million residents, roughly the same as Phoenix, Arizona, Latvia may be modest. However, in 2025, this Baltic country is outperforming its peers in terms of immigration. On a map, Latvia's borders with Belarus and Russia are 214 and 292 kilometers, respectively. Two nations have been charged with using migration as a weapon, essentially driving migrants into the frontiers of the European Union to cause mayhem. In retaliation, Latvia has increased deportations by an astounding 45% since 2024. Approximately 2,100 unauthorized immigrants were deported last year. However, that figure is predicted to surpass 3,000 in 2025. In order to deter unauthorized crossings, the government has also invested more than 200 million euros, or roughly 215 million US dollars, in border security, installing sophisticated thermal imaging cameras, motion sensors, and drones. This is where things start to get contentious. One of the first nations in Europe to permit pushbacks at the border is Latvia. In other words, migrants who enter illegally are promptly turned around and sent to Russia or Belarus without being questioned. Latvia contends that this is required to safeguard national security, despite criticism that it violates international refugee regulations. Latvia's tightening of its residence requirements is another significant change. In the past, immigrants could seek for permanent residency after 5 years. However, the current minimum is 10 years, and candidates must pass a test in Latvian. Due to their inability to comply with the new regulations, nearly 20,000 Russian-speaking citizens have left Latvia since 2024. Is Latvia turning into a stronghold? Greece is number 9. Greece, a country known for its breathtaking islands and rich history, has seen one of the largest migrant crises in European history. Greece has been a major entrance point for migrants since 2015, particularly those coming through Turkey from Syria, Afghanistan, and portions of Africa. Over 1.2 million migrants, or more than 10% of the nation's population, had arrived by 2020. However, the Greek government is saying enough in 2025. Rejected applicants are being deported more quickly than before due to new procedures that are reducing asylum approvals by 60%. Approximately 15,000 migrants were deported in 2024. And that figure is anticipated to increase to 25,000 by 2025. Detention is one of the most contentious policies. Asylum seekers may now be detained for up to 36 months while their claims are evaluated, which is 3 times longer than the previous maximum. Additionally, the government claims that this is intended to deter newcomers in the first place. In order to identify illicit crossings, Greece has also increased border patrols in the Iron Sea, employing Coast Guard boats, thermal drones, and artificial intelligence-powered monitoring. In a new border accord worth €1.5 billion, or roughly $1.6 billion US dollars, Greece has also reached a significant arrangement with Turkey, pledging to return at least 10,000 migrants annually. However, there's a catch. In exchange for returning the migrants, Turkey is requesting more financial assistance from the European Union. Additionally, Greece's removals are proceeding more quickly. The administration has signed agreements with 15 African nations to return migrants directly to their home countries, avoiding drawn-out European Union procedures, and deportation planes are being expedited. Although many Greek citizens are in favor of the measures, human rights organizations are incensed. According to a 2025 survey, 72% of Greeks expressed a desire for tougher immigration regulations, particularly in light of high-profile incidents involving unauthorized migrants. Austria is number 8. When it comes to immigration crackdowns, Austria may not be the first nation that springs to mind, yet this country known for its mountain peaks and classical music is currently among Europe's hardest enforcers. Geographical factors are the cause. Austria is situated in the center of the migration corridor in Europe. It is an important transit route for migrants traveling north because it borders 8 nations. Austria has received more than 500,000 asylum applications since 2015, which is a significant amount for a nation with only 9 million citizens. Additionally, public dissatisfaction had reached a breaking point by 2024. What will Austria be doing in 2026? First, it has reduced the number of asylum requests by 70%. In other words, the likelihood of being accepted is now lower than before. Second, deportations are being prioritized in Austria, with the goal of removing 40,000 undocumented immigrants this year alone. This is the section that is receiving the most attention. Austria supports a plan by the European Union to construct deportation centers outside of Europe. The plan is to send refugees to processing facilities in North Africa while their asylum cases are considered, rather than lodging them in Austria. Although the idea is still in the early stages of development, Austria hopes to be at the lead if it proceeds. Additionally, the Austrian government is preventing immigrants who have received any kind of government help during the last 5 years from applying for citizenship. This implies that if a person has ever received welfare assistance or unemployment benefits, they may still be refused a passport even if they have worked lawfully in Austria. High-tech monitoring towers are also part of Austria's most recent border plan, which is located along the borders with Slovakia and Hungary. These 5-meter-tall towers are equipped with facial recognition technology driven by artificial intelligence that scans visitors to the nation. Denmark is number 7. Denmark is renowned for its Vikings and for being one of the happiest nations on the planet. This is what many people do not anticipate, though. Additionally, Denmark has some of Europe's harshest immigration laws. Denmark has been subtly promoting a harsh stance for years, which is currently garnering international attention. In 2025, the Danish government intends outsourcing the entire asylum procedure to Africa in addition to deporting unlawful immigrants. Indeed, it is the strategy. In order to move asylum seekers to Rwanda while their applications are being processed, Denmark and Rwanda have reached an agreement worth around 250 million euros, or 270 million euros US dollars. The government claims that by making Denmark a less desirable destination, this will discourage illegal migration. Denmark is not done yet. Denmark has implemented what it refers to as a zero asylum policy, which means that it will seldom ever take in new refugees unless there are extraordinary circumstances. Only 800 asylum petitions were granted in Denmark in 2024, which is said to be the lowest amount in the EU. When you contrast that with Sweden's approval of 20,000, the magnitude of Denmark's change is evident. Denmark plans to double deportations in 2025, with a goal of 10,000 removals by the end of the year. Even Syrians and Afghans who have lived in Denmark for years are having their residency cards revoked by authorities, who claim that situations back home are now safe enough for them to return. Significant demonstrations have been triggered by this action, but the administration has refused to back down. Another contentious regulation focuses on daily living and settlement. Non-Western immigrants are now required to reside in neighborhoods known as integration zones, where they must take Danish language and cultural classes before being permitted to travel freely. Deportation may result from non-compliance. A staggering 76% of Danish voters favor these measures, making Denmark one of the most extreme situations in Europe. Italy is number 6. For many years, Italy has struggled with a migrant crisis. Additionally, it implemented one of the most outrageous solutions to date in 2025, sending migrants to Albania. Indeed, it is the strategy. An agreement worth $1.5 billion, or roughly $1.6 billion between Albania and Italy permits Italy to send 36,000 migrants annually to Albanian processing facilities while their asylum claims are being considered. With over 180,000 migrants arriving by sea in 2024 alone, a 60% increase from 2023, the objective is to relieve pressure on Italy's overburdened immigration system. Rapid deportation laws have also been introduced by the Italian government, led by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, with the goal of removing at least 40,000 undocumented migrants by 2025. Compared to previous administrations that had difficulty deporting even 20,000 individuals annually, that represents a significant shift. There's more, too. Migrant boats are being seized by Italy at an unprecedented rate. In just the first half of 2025, the Italian Coast Guard seized more than 1,200 boats used by smugglers. The message is straightforward. You are not staying if you enter the country illegally. Italy's crackdown on humanitarian non-governmental organizations is another significant change. For bringing migrants to Italian shores, these organizations that rescue migrants at sea are now subject to steep fines and even jail time. The government claims that in order to disrupt smuggling networks, this is essential. Human rights advocates, however, claim that it is endangering lives. Despite all of this, Italy is still struggling to control migration, especially from Tunisia and Libya, where smugglers keep finding new ways to send migrants across the Mediterranean. Can Italy's new strategy really stop illegal migration? Time will tell. Number 5, Poland. Poland is taking no chances in the year 2026 when it comes to immigration. This country, known for pierogies and medieval castles, has become one of the toughest anti-immigration nations in Europe. So what changed? Poland has sealed its 400 kilometers border with Belarus by building a high-tech border wall costing $350 million, about $380 million United States dollars. It is equipped with motion detectors, drones, and artificial intelligence surveillance. Built to stop what officials call a hybrid war. After Belarus was accused of pushing thousands of migrants into Poland to create political instability, Poland says it is working. In the year 2024, over 50,000 migrants tried to cross illegally. In the year 2025, that number has dropped by 80%, credited to the wall and strict deportation laws. Poland has also passed an emergency law allowing border guards to deport anyone caught crossing illegally immediately with no asylum claim, no appeal, and no delay. If you are caught, you are sent back the same day. Poland has started mass deportation flights, removing at least 5,000 migrants per month, to their home countries. The government is spending $500 million, roughly $540 million United States dollars in this year alone on charter flights to Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. Public support is strong. In a year 2025 poll, 82% said they wanted even stricter controls. Critics say Poland is going too far, pointing to refugees from Syria and Sudan being denied entry. The European Union has warned Poland it may be violating international asylum laws. But Poland's message is blunt. Our country, our rules. In the year 2025, if you are an illegal immigrant, you are not staying. Number 4, Finland. Finland, the land of saunas, northern lights, and some of the happiest people on earth, has taken a hard turn on immigration. You might think of Finland as calm and welcoming. But in the year 2025, it has become one of Europe's strictest countries for migrants. The Finnish government set a new record by deporting over 10,000 migrants in a single year, which is double the number of deportations compared to the year 2023. And officials say the country is only getting tougher. Finland has introduced express deportations. If you enter Finland illegally, you can be sent back within 48 hours with no asylum application and no long legal process. The biggest change is at the eastern border. Finland has now shut its border with Russia completely after accusing Russia of sending thousands of migrants across in an attempt to destabilize the country. To stop this, Finland built a 200 kilometers border fence costing €400 million, about €435 million United States dollars, equipped with drones, infrared cameras, and motion sensors. Finland is not only blocking new arrivals, it is also removing people who are already inside. The government has revoked over 5,000 residence permits from asylum seekers, arguing that home countries such as Afghanistan, Iraq, and Somalia are now safe enough for return. The decision triggered major protests, but the Finnish government has not backed down. There is another twist. Finland is targeting criminal migrants more aggressively than ever. If you are convicted of a crime, even a minor one, your chances of deportation increase by 300%. In the year 2024 alone, Finland deported over 1,500 foreign criminals, including gang members and drug traffickers. Surprisingly, many Finns support these moves. In a year 2025 survey, 68% of Finnish citizens said they wanted even stricter immigration laws, arguing Finland's welfare system should be for Finns first. Finland in the year 2025 is not the same Finland from a decade ago. Number 3, Sweden. Sweden used to be one of the most welcoming countries for immigrants, but in the year 2025, that has completely changed. Sweden has reversed its immigration policies and is now deporting migrants at record levels. To understand why, it helps to rewind. After taking in over 1.2 million refugees between the year 2015 and the year 2023, Sweden began struggling with rising crime, gang violence, and growing social tension. In response, the new government launched Operation Clean Sweden, a major campaign aimed at deporting at least 50,000 undocumented migrants by the end of the year 2025. So, how are they doing it? First, Sweden has cut social benefits for undocumented migrants. No more free housing, free healthcare, or welfare if you do not have legal status. This has pushed thousands to leave voluntarily because they can no longer afford to stay. Second, Sweden is fast-tracking deportations like never before. Immigration courts now process asylum cases in about half the time, and rejected applicants must leave within 30 days or risk being forcibly removed. Under this new system, over 25,000 migrants have already been expelled. But the biggest shock is that Sweden is now deporting entire families, even when some members were born in Sweden. The government argues that if the parents are undocumented, the children must leave too. This has triggered major protests, but officials insist it is necessary to restore law and order. Crime has been the central driver behind this crackdown. In the year 2024 alone, Sweden recorded about 1,300 shootings, many linked to gang violence in immigrant-dominated areas. The Prime Minister has declared Sweden will no longer tolerate criminal migrants, and anyone convicted of any crime, no matter how minor, will be deported immediately. Another controversial step is that deportation officers are being sent into schools to identify undocumented children, sparking outrage abroad. Despite the backlash, Swedish voters appear to support the shift. A year 2025 poll found that 72% of Swedes back these tougher measures, saying they want Sweden to feel safe again. From one of Europe's most open countries to one of its strictest, Sweden's transformation has been nothing short of shocking. Number 2, Germany. If you had told someone in the year 2015 that Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse and one of the most immigrant-friendly countries, would be mass deporting migrants by the year 2025, they would have laughed. But that is exactly what is happening now. Germany, once known for its welcome culture, is taking a much harsher stance on immigration, and the numbers are staggering. In the year 2025 alone, Germany has deported over 60,000 migrants, the highest total since World War II. That is about a 50% increase compared to the year 2023. So what changed? Germany's migration crisis has hit a breaking point. After accepting more than 2 million refugees since the year 2015, the country is facing housing shortages, rising crime, and mounting economic pressure. The cost of supporting asylum seekers has ballooned to around 50 billion, roughly 54 billion United States dollars per year, and taxpayers are fed up. A survey in the year 2025 found that 74% of Germans believe the country has too many migrants and support stricter deportation laws. One of Germany's most controversial tools is a fast-track deportation law that allows authorities to remove rejected asylum seekers in as little as 14 days instead of the usual month-long process. That change has made it easier to send back tens of thousands of people, especially those from Afghanistan, Syria, and North Africa. But it does not stop there. Germany has also cut benefits for asylum seekers, reducing housing support and financial assistance to encourage voluntary return. In the year 2025 alone, this policy has already pushed over 20,000 migrants to leave on their own. And crime has become a major driver of the crackdown. In recent years, German cities have seen sharp increases in gang violence, theft, and drug trafficking, with many incidents linked to migrant communities. The government has prioritized deporting foreign criminals, expelling over 10,000 people with criminal records in just the first 6 months of the year, 2025. Perhaps the most shocking move is Germany's deportation raids. Every week, police sweep through refugee shelters, train stations, and even schools to locate and remove undocumented migrants. Videos of these raids have gone viral and sparked massive protests. But the government insists the operations are necessary. With these extreme measures, Germany has reshaped its immigration policy, and officials say it is only getting stricter. Number 1, France. France has taken the most aggressive approach to deporting immigrants in the year 2025, and the numbers are mind-blowing. France has expelled over 100,000 people in just 1 year, nearly double the level seen in the year 2023. The pressure behind this did not appear overnight. France has been dealing with a long-building immigration crisis. With over 7 million immigrants living in the country, about 10% of the population as crime, riots, and social tensions rose. The government argued it was time for a complete reset, and that reset meant mass deportations. One of the most controversial measures is the zero-tolerance deportation program. Under this policy, any undocumented migrant, any failed asylum seeker, or any foreign criminal is removed immediately. There are no second chances. If you are caught without legal papers, you can be put on a plane within the same week, and it is not limited to undocumented migrants. France has also started deporting people with legal residency if they are considered a threat to public order. That change has forced thousands of people, including longtime residents, to leave. What shocked the world even more was France's expulsion of entire migrant communities in the year 2025. Police dismantled over 50 migrant camps in cities such as Paris, Marseille, and Calais. Families were put on buses and sent back to their home countries. Some of these communities had been in France for years, but the government's message was blunt. France must be for the French first. Then came the crime crackdown. After a record-breaking year of violent protests in the year 2024, emergency laws expanded the ability to arrest and deport suspected criminals. In just the first 6 months of the year 2025, France deported over 15,000 foreign criminals, including gang members, drug dealers, and people suspected of radical extremism. A major turning point followed a series of terrorist attacks in the year 2024. The French president vowed France would not tolerate those who do not share its values, and that vow was followed by deportations of thousands of radicalized individuals, including people born in France who held dual citizenship. Subscribe now, share this video, and tell me in the comments whether you think France is restoring control or going to.